Hello YouTube, here with my Fire King avatar deck profile. Just gonna run through it really quick. You got three Barong, here's the search card, two Yaksha, the trigger for the Fire King effects, two Quillen. A lot of people don't run it. I run it because it's another rekindling target and it's level 3, allowing me to make cards in my extra deck such as Leviair and Black Rose Dragon. They're very useful. Also, when Garunix is off late game and you've gone through everything else, there's always going to be that one extra card in your deck that you want to go for. So it's good to have more targets for all the effects that are pluses. Got two Garunix, just the boss monster of the deck. Either way, when it's on the field and it's destroyed, it's going to become a floater in some way. Then I got one Lava Forest Sprite. In preliminary testing, this card was looking good, but it's not doing as good as I thought it would. So I'm probably going to take this out, probably for a third Garunix. But I'll explain why I used it in a bit. Got three Flambeau Fire Dog, searches for any 200 defense fire monster, which is a lot in this deck. They got a Flambeau Magician, really good for getting that, that either that Exceed play off the Fire Dog or the Synchro off the Fire Dog. Scrap Dragon is amazing in this deck, considering it destroys your cards, so set trigger off Barong or Garunix or Yaksha effects. Then I got two Enthusiastic Beastman Wolfberg, another good card to get back from, or another way to recycle your Fire Kings really well. Also combos really well with the Quick Play Fire King card, which I'll talk in just a bit. Onto the spells, we got one staple Dark Hole. We got two Fire Kings Fire Ring. Basically, when you play it, it switches. In effect, it's going to switch a card, a fire monster from your field to your graveyard. But there's no requirement on levels, so it's an easy way to recycle into your Garunixes. Also, when you use Beastman Wolfberg, bring back one, then just Fire King's Ring it off. So basically, it allows Wolfberg to be able to special summon Garunix without negating its effect or anything. So yeah, definitely 2 seems the number. 3 could work, but it just seems like any more would be cloggy in the early game. They got a staple Heavy Storm, staple Monster Reborn, 3 MSTs. I got 3 Fire Dance Tenki. Searches off 9 cards of the deck, so it's good to run 3. Get your Wolfbergs, but early game you want to go for Barongs and Yakshas. Got 3 Onslaught of the Fire Kings. Just the best card in the deck. When the opponent has a monster on the field and you have none, just special summon out any, Fire Beast Warrior, Wing Beast type monster from your deck, and it's gonna be destroyed during the end phase. So it's basically a Cyber Dragon for any of your cards, any of your Fire Kings from the deck. And the thing is, it's when these are destroyed during the end phase, it's gonna trigger their effects. So you bring out Garunix. Next standby phase, it's gonna come back and blow up the rest of their field. Just an amazing card. Then I got 3 Rekindling, the second best card in the deck. There's a lot of 200 defense monsters for targets. So it's never going to be dead. Even if you just use it to get back 2 or 3 cards, get back a Magician, a Fire Dog, and a Barong. Go Scrap Dragon destroy Barong and something else. Next turn, search for an Onslaught with Barong, and you're set to go again. Then onto the 8 traps I run, I got 3 Horn of the Phantom Beast. Works with, the Flamville Fire Dogs, the Barongs, the Yakshas. It basically works with almost all the cards in the deck. It's really good to first turn go Barong and set Horn of the Phantom Beast, just because this will protect Barong from dying by battle, which won't trigger his effect. So it's a nice card. Draw cards also is always good. 2 Torrential Tributes. I usually don't run Torrential Tributes in a lot of my builds, but in this deck it works really well because it will trigger off your Fire King effects. So it's just a strong trap card at 2, so run 2. Then I run 2 Compulse and Bottomless just for generic removal. Onto the side deck, I've got 3 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors and a Gemini Imps for Dark World Hate. I got 1 Twister and 1 Sacred Phoenix of the Nephthys, however you say that. Just spell and trap hate, any deck that will go into sets a bunch of back row. Neph is really good to bring it out. And I usually side this against Dark Worlds too, because when they put out their field spells, you just bring this out later, and it's just every turn they don't want to play their gates because they know it's going to get destroyed. And that is unfortunate. Okay, we'll just continue from here. I was down here with Nephthys. Next I got 2 Maxis, 2 Veilers. Basically the the staple hand traps of the format, for Maxis are for windups, these are for Insectors and anything else that you don't want their effects to go off. 2 Chain Disappearance, I've found it really useful, especially versus the windups, and get rid of their rats and get rid of their not their sharks, but their magicians. It's a good card. Then I've got 2 Soul Takers for the Elemental Hero Shining and the Light Pulsar Dragon. 2 decks that can get really annoying. And lastly, I've got a Prohibition because you can side it versus anything and do whatever you want with it. On to the extra, got 1 Gaia Knight and 1 Frontier Noble, the Fire Fist Horse. This is the main reason I was running the Forest Sprite to begin with, just because, first turn, you go Fire Dog, Forest Sprite, and then you synchro into this guy and special summon out Quillen from your deck. And then, during their turn, if they destroy it, you just send another card to your graveyard, and you can send Magician. Then you can just go Rekindling, and look, you already have 1, 2, 3, 4 targets when you send 1 with Quillen, so it just makes Rekindling live really early game, especially if you just open with a Fire Dog. That's all you need to do. It's good for pluses, but it hasn't been as consistent as I wanted it to, and I've been drawing Lawful Forest Sprite more than I've wanted to. That's why I'm considering dropping it, but it was a good play in early testing. I got a Black Rose Dragon because I have level 3 and a Flammable Magician, and it's really good to just get rid of their field if they just overextend, and it's also okay if you have Fire Kings on your field because it's going to trigger off all their effects. Got 1 Stardust Dragon. It's good against a lot of decks. And Scrap Dragon, as I explained earlier with Magician, it's just an amazing card in this deck. And we're at Red Dragon Archifiend. Basically picked it just because of the high attack power, and also during your end phase, if you really wanted to, you could use its effect to destroy your Fire Kings to get that search for the onslaught if you really want to go off. Then I got an Abyss Dweller, probably the best Exceed during this format to shut down Atlanteans, Dark Worlds, Metal Chase, Sandgan. It shuts down everything. Gagaga Cowboy is really good for, it gets that, basically using its attack position effect, it's going to get up to, what you can say is it comes out as 3,000 attack, which is pretty good. And if you're in defense position, I actually used this once. I actually used the defense position, inflict 800 damage to win the game before the opponent was at 600, and I inflicted him for 800 to win. It was pretty funny. Using a Fierce Leader Tiger, it's pretty good because if you go for it, you can actually get to set out your Fire Dances, so you can set the 10 keys to search for these. Also, down here when it says, you never really use this effect, but you can use this one to negate face-up monsters' effects. And it's really good for certain cards that can't be targeted or stuff, so it's fairly useful. Then Dio Wolf is probably my favorite Exceed monster in the deck, just because it's a 1-for-1, but it's actually a +1 if you use it with the Fire King's effects, because it'll get a search or it'll bring this back, so it does a lot of good stuff. Then I got Utopia, Pearl, Maestroke, Shockmaster, basically in any deck that can bring out a lot of 4 stars, a lot of level 4 cards and rank 4 Exceeds. You got those 4. And then 1 Leviair, because a lot of people like to bottomless Barong or Yaksha or Fire Dog, and it's just with Rekindling and these 2, just brings back cards from the banished pile and just keeps you going. So yeah, Fire Kings are extremely good. I have won a lot of them, a lot of games with them. They're really consistent. When the deck comes out, I'm probably going to start running it just because it's a lot of fun and it's very consistent, and it's just an enjoyable deck to run. So I suggest you all try it out. You can take this build exactly and tweak it a little bit. But until next time, peace.